Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. Welcome back, September 23, 2017, Revelation 12, sign. And I think we've solved our sound issues. It's taken a little while. We're learning in baby steps, but I think we're going to get there. And the whole thing is about giving you an improved situation, an improved product in the long term, and that's what I'm here to do. I give you something that's going to be helpful for you, give you something that's going to be positive for you, and we're going to take a look again at the next part of this Revelation 12 sign. Hello, Stariana. We do have the chat room open. Hello, Miracle Babe. We do have the chat room open, even though it makes it a little less official. I think Cuban Pixie, hello. People are benefited by having the ability to hear interaction and questions being asked and answered regarding this scenario. MKD, hello, nice to see you. And of course, this is something that is time sensitive. That's why we've tried to get these going and get it out. And I'll do my best to answer questions as we go in the chat room, but I want to stay with the flow of this teaching. I'm going to try to be as objective as I possibly can. And I have started a playlist, so I believe this would be the 4th video in that playlist. So if you have questions, you can go back to the other videos. And I hate to do this to you, but I'm going to have to roll this down to where we can get started. We're going to get started on page, well, you know what? I can just be fancy and go to just page 19. Boom. Oh, it took 13. It's interesting how things are a little different. But anyway, here we are. Karen Lambert, hello. Page 19. The historical position, or the historicist position, of the Revelation 12 sign. Hello, Jerry Browning. Historicist means what people have always thought about it historically, not the futurist school of thought that was started by the Jesuits. And I'm going to do my very best to remain objective during this teaching, because we're trying to get this out to people that are on both sides of the fence and allow them to objectively evaluate information. And you know, sometimes I try to get a little evangelistic, but we're going to try to keep it as objective as we can. So let's jump right into this. I'm reading from my book. What's the book called? September 23, 2017, Revelation 12 sign. And this is the historicist position on the Revelation 12 sign. I want you to see it, know it, understand it, evaluate it. And of course, Revelation 12 says very quickly, great wonder in heaven, woman clothed with the sun, moon under her feet, crown of 12 stars, being travailing in birth, painting to be delivered. Another wonder, great red dragon, 7 heads, crowns, cast them to earth, 1/3 of the stars, ready to devour the child. She brought forth the child, with rule the nations with a rod of iron. Child caught up to God. Woman flees in the wilderness. Place prepared to God. 1,203 score days. 1,260, the great 1,260 days of prophecy. So let's look at this and see what the historicist representation of this great prophecy has always been. So, a woman. The historical positions all of the church has always been that this woman in this great sign represents the progenitor of humanity. She represents our mother, the woman, the progenitor of humanity. And the imagery is replete in epic literature. It helps lend credence to the beliefs that there was a strong feminine presence at the creation of mankind. Now, what I mean about it being replete in epic literature is, if you go to the Atrahasis, if you go to the how is the sound? Somebody tell me if the sound is good or bad. If you go to the Sumerian, if you go to the Egyptian, if you go to the Indian, you will always find a strong female presence in the great creation scriptures. And it's very much the same here as it's being reflected in Revelation chapter 12. Thank you much, Karen Lambert. So the historical position's always been that this woman is the person that is the creator of humanity. She's clothed with the sun. enshrouded with the sun, as the Greek says. This is the light and glory of the Elohim that humanity was endowed with in Genesis 1:26 and 27. It's clear imagery of divinity. And she has the moon under her feet. Opinions on the moon being under her feet are varied. Some point to the moon as the proverbial footstool for the mother or queen of earth. Others see victory over the old moon gods. Still others see beautifully poetic imagery. But one thing is certain, no one until the Jesuit Francisco Ribera ever saw what they are trying to say now about this moon being under her feet, making it into this celestial date-setting scripture. And upon her head was a crown. Now this is important. Upon her head was a crown, and that word is a wreath or a garland. It's not a crown in the traditional sense, it's a wreath, like the victors in the Olympics used to be given. It's a natural origin, woven from the earth. It shows that this woman is one with nature. This woman works with, respects, and protects nature. This is the original Mother Earth, Mother Nature, the Gaia Sophia, the living earth goddess, Ninma, Mammy in the earliest creation epics. And then she has 12 stars, a crown of 12 stars. Of course, 12's always been a very powerful number in Scripture. And may I point out that the text says she has 12 stars, not 9 stars and 3 planets. Not 9 stars and 3 planets. And Dr. Illusion gives an interesting commentary there on the 12. Sophia conquered the archons, the archetypes, the 12 constellations above her head with mastery of light and dark. She's so awesome. That's interesting. And being travailed and being with child, she cried, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. None of you ladies that have had a baby need me to explain that to you. But this is a picture of the gods, the Elohim, in their original perfect creation of humanity in their own image. It gives us a glimpse behind the scenes. It wasn't simple. It wasn't easy. The process of our Genesis was a painstaking task that was perfected after much effort on the part of the Elohim. So you would put that together, and what we get is a great sign appeared in the heavenlies, the mother of humanity. She was enshrouded with the light and glory of the Elohim. On her head she wore a wreath woven from the earth. She was about to give birth. That even rhymes. I think you would have to agree that that flows very well, and it's a very accurate rendering from the text, and it's much less imaginative than what the Jesuit teachers would have us to believe. And then there appeared another wonder in heaven, a great red dragon, 7 heads, 10 horns, 7 crowns upon his head. Now the great red dragon, fiery serpent dragon, is the best translation. He's not wearing wreaths on his heads. He's wearing diadems. That's the Greek word. He's wearing diadems. And the picture is that the woman is wearing natural origin, woven from the earth, one with earth. A diadem is metal, it's man-made, and it carries a sense of lordship and superiority over nature. Where the woman is one with humanity, one with the earth, the dragon is seeking to conquer and rule over both as a dictator. You can see the difference there. And his tail drew out a third part of the heavens and did cast them to earth. Interesting that the Revelation 12 sign group doesn't deal with that verse. But and what it says is he drew out a third of the luminaries, or a third of the luminous ones, and cast them to the earth, the area in which we live in, which operates in space and time, which God uses to prepare us. So that's interesting. Did he knock a third of the angels out, a third of the some type of bodies that live outside of time, some type of beings that live outside of time, and now they're thrown down into our scene? Did he lure a third of the Elohim? Did he lure a third of the angels? And of course, this probably is the origin of the Christian theory that 1/3 of the angels fell. Well, my commentary is interesting. I was born a Gnostic, and it took me a while to remember. Ah, interesting. I get accused of being a Gnostic, and I've been accused of being worse things, but I don't think I am. I don't accept any labels. So then the dragon stood before the woman who was ready to be delivered, and he wanted to devour her child as soon as it was born. This fiery serpent dragon was ready to devour the perfect creation of Elohim, mankind, just as soon as we were created. And again, I'm giving you the historicist position on this verse. 1600-year position of the great reformers from the Protestant Reformation. And she brought forth her man-child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up unto God and to his throne. You see, the wise and righteous Elohim had already crafted a plan to break the designs of the red dragon. A man-child literally rendered a stronger one, brought forth with a rod of iron, or a strong wand. Yes, there's magical implications in the original text. This ties the woman and her offspring to nature and earth as partners. The child being caught up to heaven calls to mind the revelation of the dragon being banned from the heavens. Humanity was placed symbolically beyond his reach. Now, don't let the wand bother you. What the wand really means is something more, much different than what we've been subject to for 2,000 years of indoctrination on. Magic just means the direction of human intention. It's nothing more than the application of your thoughts and the directing them towards a specific end. Like Psalms 23:7 says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. And I assure you, as a woman thinks in her heart, so is she. The Christ talked about it. It's not what enters into a man's mouth that defiles a man, but what comes out of the man's mouth. It's made very clear and plain for us that it's our intentions that are the wellspring of who we are, either positively or negatively. A good person out of the good treasure of their heart brings forth good. An evil person out of the evil treasure brings forth evil. For out of the abundance of the heart the mouth speaks. This is the true intention. Hello, Tamu. This is the true intention of magic. And then the woman flees into the wilderness, where she had a place prepared of God that they should feed her there. She sought safety during the night. The true worshipers of the divine were led, this is a historicist position, into a safe place to endure a long night of spiritual darkness. This is the true historical tribulation period, the tribulation period of 1600 years of Christian thought, the tribulation period of Luther, Wycliffe, Tyndale, all the great leaders of the Protestant Reformation. The tribulation period was Rome going forth, conquering and to conquer, and forcing people to either convert or die. And thank you, Jerry Browning, and please feel free to use all caps whenever you want to say I'm exactly right. I have not a problem with that at all. And it says that she went into the she fled into the wilderness. And it means, in the original Greek, uncultivated nature, a solitary place that provides needed quiet and freedom from disturbance. I'm reading you exactly from the Greek. She fled into the wilderness for protection, and wilderness means uncultivated nature, solitary place that provides needed quiet and freedom from disturbance. Where she was prepared of God, hi Amy, to be able to stay there for 1,260 days. A place provided by the Elohim so she could grow, be fed, and nourished. It's the same word used in this passage. And the Christ rose up a great while before the day, hello Jennifer, and departed into a solitary place where he prayed. The Christ did this often, gave us an example of what this passage is saying. Mankind is encouraged by word and example to retreat into uncultivated and solitary places, into nature, as the wreath indicated, as the wand alludes to meditate, learn, be nourished, developed, and be protected during a time of a reign of darkness. Hello, Chris. Now let me digress a moment and give you a full picture of the historicist view of this. Do you know what the word pagan means? I'll wait. Boldly going where no man has gone before. We must reconnect with our mother Sophia, or Sophia. Pagan literally means country dweller. The secondary definition of pagan would be one that does not ascribe to the dominant religious paradigm of any given cultural group. So a pagan, hello Mustafa, I got your pictures. Thank you very much, brother. I'm going to make a video out of those. They're stunning. Pagan means somebody that is a country dweller, a redneck, if you will, kind of like me. And it also means someone that doesn't follow the dominant religious paradigm. And that's according to Merriam-Webster, not according to Jeffrey Allen. Yeah, like a heretic, MKD. That's what we get called. So anyway, is this verse foreshadowing a retreat of true spirituality into the country, literally into paganism? Few things are more harshly condemned in the Bible than paganism, yet we see the word simply means those that live in the country, or a person holding religious beliefs other than the main world religions. Hello, seven serpents. Outside of imperial control, absolutely. The passage clearly states that the true offspring of the gods would be carried into the country where they would be kept safe for a time. This is an exact match for the term pagan, and what it's talking about, the historicist position has always held, is that people that did not want to buy into the Roman pagan Pauline or the Roman Pauline religion fled the centers of culture, retreated into the country or wilderness so they could keep to themselves, worship as the Elohim had instructed them, and be protected by distance. This idea has considerable historical merit, because during the Middle Ages, most people lived in small villages, 20 or 30 people. This is coming from localhistories.org. Land was divided into 3 huge fields. 2 were sown with crops. 1 was left fallow to allow it to recover. Each person had some strips of land in each field. Most owned only 1 ox, so they had to join with other families to obtain the team of oxen needed to pull a plow. After plowing, the land was sown. Men sowed grain, women planted peas and beans, and probably legumes. Most peasants also owned a few cows, goats, sheep. Cows and goats gave milk and cheese. Peasants kept chickens for eggs. They kept pigs. Peasants could graze their livestock on common land. In autumn, they let the pigs roam in the woods to eat acorns, beech nuts, truffles. However, they did not have enough food to keep many animals through the winter. Most of the livestock was slaughtered in autumn, and the meat was salted to preserve it. However, in the Middle Ages, all was not hard work, because people did rest on holy days. And did you catch it? Did you catch it earlier? The woman was to retreat into the wilderness. For how long was that woman to retreat into the wilderness? 1,260 days. That's the same thing that Daniel talked about as the end times. The 1,260 days was the time of tribulation. And yet, the woman goes into the wilderness for 1,260 days. The historical position has long held that these 1,260 days of persecution were marked by the rise of papal Rome and the Antichrist Pope persecuting believers that would not follow them. This, in the opinion of the historicist interpretation, 1,600 years of Christianity, all of the great reformers. Oh my God, I'm a pagan. I've always had some pagan tendencies. Good for you. This was the real tribulation period. That Father Ribera, whose task was to defend the Pope, took special aim at this is no surprise. Ribera proposed, Ribera proposed that the 1,260 days were not 1,260 years as based on the year-day principle. You remember the scriptures, and it's in Numbers and Ezekiel, 1,000 years is as one day, and one day is 1,000 years with the Lord. That is what the historical church always taught up until Francisco Ribera, 17th century. But the church also taught that the Pope was Antichrist. So in order to get the Pope off the hook, Ribera said, no, 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 no. It's not 1,260 years. It's only 1,260 days. And it's future. Which discussion, which interpretation of the Revelation 12 sign makes more sense to you? What we just went through that's backed with to the year historical accuracy? Or does this sound more accurate to you? And I'm trying to be objective. The sun will be in Virgo, the moon will be beneath it, which means it's under a woman's feet, and that Jupiter will be in Virgo, and it has 9 stars, and because Venus, Mars, and Mercury will be like right there, we can count them as stars too, even though they're planets. That makes 12 stars, crowning the woman, and it will happen on Rosh Hashanah, which is really important. So obviously, this alignment means the rapture will probably happen any moment, and then the tribulation period, and if you've not received Jesus Christ as your personal Savior, you're in big trouble. Which one rings more true to you? I ask. Allow me, if you will, to examine in our remaining time what I refer to as end-time addicts and the cult of eschatology. I've arranged these verses in the order, in chronological order, and in order that makes the most sense. Now the Spirit speaks expressly that in the latter times some will depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. For the time will come that they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lust they shall heap unto themselves teachers having itching ears, and they'll turn away their ears from truth and be turned to fables. But understand this, in the last days terrible times will come. Don't let them take that Native American out of you. And pagans do love Christ, the Christ. Let's break these 3 verses down. They hold the key to this puzzle. Now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter times some will depart from the faith, giving, thank you, Karen, giving heed to seducing spirits, doctrines of devils. And what this says in the Greek, in a specific time near the end, people will withdraw from fidelity to the faith, paying attention to misleading and deceitful impostors and the instructions of a heathen deity. Let's read that again in the original Greek. In a specific time near the end, some shall withdraw from fidelity to the faith, paying attention to misleading and deceitful impostors and the instructions of a human deity. Being objective, is it not very consistent to say that in a specific time near the end, that some will withdraw from fidelity to the faith, some will withdraw from the historical position of the church, the historical position of the great leaders of the Protestant Reformation, and will start paying attention to misleading and deceitful impostors? Would it be out of order for me to suggest that the Jesuits are misleading and deceitful impostors? And the instructions of a heathen deity. Would it be out of line for me to suggest, as the Protestant Reformation taught, that the Pope is a heathen deity? In my humble opinion, we could not ask for a clearer or better description of believers wandering from the true historical positions and being deceived by the intrepid Pope defending Jesuits. But that's just my opinion. Step 2, time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine. And we love having you here, Jennifer. Time will not endure sound doctrine, but they will of their own lust heap to themselves teachers, having itching ears. Turn away their ears from truth, be turned to fables. Again, straight Greek. There is a specific time coming when people will not have patience, will not persist in pure, sound, uncorrupted teaching, But according to their own eagerness and lust, they will seek out a multitude of teachers that will tickle their ears. That's the Greek, folks, not the Jeff. This passage clues us into the idea that the deception will be escalated at a particular moment in time. There will be a time when believers will start chasing after Jesuit eschatology, which one might think of the Christ saying, the wicked and the perverse are seeking signs. Strictly objectively, Jesuit eschatology and the church it's born from, are they not the home of wickedness and perversion? Are they not the ones that created these signs through the work of Francisco Ribera? The time of, and I did not make this up. I did not make this up. This is straight from the Greek. I've shown it to you before. You can look it up yourself. In the last days, terrible times will come. Literally rendered is the time of eschatology. That's why I can't throw the Bible away totally. Because every now and then, even though I'm not supposed to be, I can't throw the Bible away. We'll leave it at that. I'm trying to stay objective in this discussion. But that frames the reference of what we said is going to happen. It'll happen in the time of eschatology. So let's put that together and add some perspective from the rest of our study. In a specific time near the end, this is straight from the Greek, some will withdraw from fidelity to the faith. Hello there, Renaissance woman. Paying attention to misleading and deceitful impostors and the instructions of a heathen deity. When this time comes, many will not have the patience to persist in pure, sound, uncorrupted teachings, but out of eagerness and lust will seek out a multitude of teachers. Travis Thorpe, in the house. That will tickle their ears. The time of eschatology will be a season of trouble and harshness. One would be hard-pressed to say it any clearer. Allow me a literal English translation, if you will. Allow me the, let's call this the JDV, the Jeff Darty version, or even better, let's call it the DRBV. Oh, I'm not supposed to do this. What the heck. Just one little digression from objectivity. Just one little tiny digression from objectivity. Let's call it the DRBV. The D rat bastardized version. The D rat bastardized version, if you will allow me. A time will come when people will not stay true to what they've been taught over 1.5 centuries and will be duped by intentionally deceitful Jesuit creations, specifically lured. Wait a minute, let me start again. I'm sorry. I got all excited and got off track. A time will come when people will not stay true to what they've been taught for over 1.5 centuries, but will be duped by intentionally deceitful Jesuits' doctrine created specifically to lure them back into obeying the Pope, a heathen deity. At that time, they will not have the patience to continue in pure, sound historical teachings, but out of eagerness and lust for new and exciting sounding doctrine will flock to many a teacher that will tickle their ears with the new, the exciting, and the different. The time of eschatology will be troublesome and harsh for the way of truth. Is that a mic drop? Boom. You know, we're 30 minutes in, but this is the end of the book, so let's go ahead and just, what do you say, plow through it? September 23, only a few weeks away. The Revelation 12 sign groups, all excited about it. Other believers, again, being objective as I can, saying, oh no, here we go again. Will this be the first domino in a series of events that will usher in the second time scenario the second coming of Christ? Or will it just be another false alarm based on Jesuit counter-Reformation espionage? What are the chances that these Revelation 12 people are going to be the first one that got it right? 1844 was wrong. 1914 was wrong. 1975 was wrong. 1988 was wrong. 2011 was wrong. 2015 is wrong. But maybe these guys got it right. Do the complicated and fanciful textual mechanizations of the Jesuit-inspired eschatologists that invent scenarios, make planet stars, and manufacture signs that the Christ himself warned about, do they really trump over 1.5 centuries? Not centuries, it's actually 1,500 years. I did that wrong. Of belief in the very lifeblood of the Protestant Reformation? Are we to believe the modern eschatologists and their Jesuit counter-Reformation teachers that Daniel's 70th week and the tribulation period are future events, or hold to the thrice-quoted Christ, that the abomination of desolation befell us in AD 70, and that the 1,260 days of tribulation are a matter of dark historical record when the Pope and the Roman Church marched against believers that would not accept them? Do we run after the nouveau Jesuit-deceived eschatologists like so many lustful and itchy-eared thrill-seekers? Or do we stand fast in the pure, sound, and time-honored beliefs of the Protestant Reformation? Do we join the Millerite Watchtower 88 Reasons Family Radio Hall of Infamy and set yet another date? Are we merely the latest of the wicked and perverse that seek after signs that the Christ plainly told us weren't coming? September 23rd, in my opinion, will not change the world. It will come and go just like 1844, 1914, 1975, 1988, 2011, and 2015. The real question is whether or not you will be changed by September 23, 2017 revelation sign. I leave this data with you to make your own decision and encourage you. Decide well, my friends. Let's finish up with this epilogue, and this is really the end of the book. And I hesitate to put this out there, but I'm going to anyway. Just a couple clarifications on Daniel's 70th week from me personally. This is not objective. This is my opinion. After 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. The people of the prince that will come will destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof will be with a flood. And unto the end of the war desolations are determined. He'll cause the covenant, make a covenant with many for 1 week. In the midst of the week, he'll cause sacrifice and oblation to cease. Of course, we've already, you're welcome, Amy, discussed this, but I want to discuss a couple of things real quickly here. Contrary to popular belief among both historicist scholars and modern eschatologists, my position is that Messiah being cut off and causing the offering and oblation to cease does not refer to the crucifixion. The true praetor. Welcome. Messiah being cut off, stopping the oblation and the sacrifice, in my opinion, does not refer to the crucifixion because it's not textually sound teaching. And the Jews' Passover was at hand, we read from John chapter 2. And the Christ went up to Jerusalem, and he found in the temple those that sold oxen, sheep, doves. He found the changers of money. And he made a scourge of small cords. He drove them out of the temple, and the sheep and the oxen, and poured out the changers' money and overthrew the tables. It's interesting. I'm about to finish up a new book called Jesus and the Christ. Jesus got whipped with a scourge. The Christ did the whipping. Just a little tidbit. Understand that this was in Jerusalem during Passover. This was one of the times in the year that every one of the Jews was required to come to the city. There was over 1 million people in Jerusalem for this festival. The Christ could not have picked a larger audience. His actions were both deliberate and premeditated. And what did he do? He found those that were selling sacrificial animals. Passover time in the temple was the epicenter of blood sacrifice. What did he do? The Christ knew this, chose this moment, that there was going to be more sacrifices than ever. And what did he do? Made a scourge, drove him out of the temple. The Christ physically and rather violently ran all the animals out of the temple and freed every single one of them. He graphically caused the sacrifice to cease by freeing all the sacrificial animals. He stopped the sacrifice. He caused the sacrifice to cease exactly like Daniel said. And he shall cause the sacrifice to cease. What's an oblation? Have you ever wondered, what's the oblation? What's the oblation? We know what an oblation is. An oblation is when people buy animals to be sacrificed. Boom. That's an oblation. What was the next thing that Christ did after he set all the animals free? Then he went and turned over all the money changers of those that were selling the animals. With that action, he literally stopped the practice known as oblation. He made the oblation to cease. Wasn't the crucifixion. It was the Christ's work in overthrowing the temple changers and the animals that caused the sacrifice and the oblation to cease. Perfect fulfillment of Daniel's prophecy. It was the Christ's actions in stopping the sacrifice and the selling of the oblation that perfectly fulfilled Daniel's prophecy. So there you have it. That's the book. It's available now on my website. We have over 700 free video lessons and teachings that's on this channel that you are watching now. They're all free of charge. Over 700 free video lessons. Somebody said it's like a Bible college education, only better. I have a hard time arguing with that. For updates, writings, descriptions, schedules, general information, you can go to my website. If you want to schedule personal spiritual work with me on a one-on-one basis, donation-based, you can go there. If you'd like to contact me by email or inquire about personal appearances or speaking events, you can email me there. So, that is the September 23rd, 2017 Revelation sign. Let me go back and see where I got left off and see if I can answer some questions. Just lost my coffee. I must have said it funny. Well, Jerry, please take care. See you, Travis. I finally feel I can open my mouth after 15 years of silence. That's why I won't shut up. That's what we're all about, Doc Illusion. Jennifer Fuller, I'm glad you see it. Thank you, Doc Illusion. What's your idea about why all the Abrahamic ominous religions pop out of the Middle East? Ooh. That's a good question, Mustafa. I'll have to study that. Live countdown to the rapture with Brother Jeff. Oh, boom, shakalaka, boom. We're going to do that on September 23rd, 2017. We're going to have a live countdown to the rapture with Brother Jeff. Oh, that's hilarious. And I knew Flat Earth would sneak in here somehow. I really enjoy the people in this channel. I do too. I do miss Brother Jeff. We're going to have to bring him out. And he left his cigars around here, so I know he's not gone. He'll come back for these, trust me. I never commented or spoke. My questions were labeled argumentative and a troublemaker. Well, that's all we are around here, Jennifer Fuller, is argumentative troublemakers. The earth is, wait for it, hollow. I think there's a lot to ponder on that question. The sign of Jonah, Chris, I hate to break this to you, but you got to show me some history, and I don't believe the sign of Jonah was an eclipse at that time in Nineveh. The sign of Jonah was, and we're going to get into it in the Jesus and the Christ, was clearly the whole story that Jesus was crucified and spent 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the earth. It wasn't an eclipse in Nineveh, with all due respect. Or that certainly is not the historicist position of 1,600 years of church teaching and the teaching of the great Protestant reformers. That's that's less subjective and more objective on my part. That is not the teaching that it was an eclipse in Nineveh. Is a new teaching, not a historical teaching of the church. It was not a teaching of the Protestant Reformation. Feels right from the start. Great. Tool, Mustafa, I don't know if you saw on the channel, I did a reaction video to one of their songs. I can't remember which one it was, but it was powerful. You got to do some, you got to mainline it, Jerry. You got to plug in that Ethernet cord. I think you might be right, Renaissance woman. I think we could use Revelation 23 as a reason not to pay taxes. Let's see how the IRS works for that. I'm packed for the woods. Not a bad idea. You're welcome, Amy. Alan Hicks, metaphysical tax evasion. The song includes all, from congregation interaction to the great flood. Excellent. I had to see the end at last, though. Hello, Jeff. Hello, True Freighter. Thank you, Jennifer. That is interesting, huh? I'm not sure either, Bellstar. Those dates are distractions. They lied to us about everything else, so why wouldn't they lie about the Bible? Boom. We should at least investigate that question. We don't think the elite will ensure something occur on this date. Rapture countdown, I'm in. Yeah, we all miss Brother Jeff. Don't go with anything in the sky. Great statement, Jerry. Fabulous idea about the rapture. We can wake some people up, really piss them off. It's so unlike me to do that, though. Get in on their rapture bus. Don't put it past them. Yep. Run like the devil. Rapture ready. Dr. Illusion, I sense a note of skepticism, a note of parody in your voice. I've heard all kinds of things about this next month. I heard they will close the banks. Don't know, can't believe what you hear on the net. They're not going to close the banks. Love you all, but must go. Me too. My concern with the predicted date of doom. Yep, and you make a good point. So there you have it, folks. My weighing in on September 23, 2017, Revelation 12 sign. Thank you, Renaissance woman. The line behind me just kind of feels like it's my spirit animal, I guess. I just feel like that's what we're kind of trying to do. We're trying to roar. We're trying to be bold. We're trying to be brave. We're trying to move out. And somebody suggested to me that it might be astral Rooney, and it very well might be. So there you have it. The book is available. I'm available. I appreciate very much your attention, and we will have some more teaching for you today. Unwind your mind. Unindoctrinate yourself. Not anything on angels yet. I haven't really done much with that. Haven't been moved to, but I probably will at some point. Thank you, Jennifer. Unwind your mind. Unindoctrinate yourself. Guide your own spirit. Master your own ascension. Be your own guru. Be excellent to yourself so we can be excellent to each other. Because that's when things really start taking off. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower, thanking you for being here and saying until next time, I salute all you truth seekers. Take care.